Alright, everybody, let's see. Piers Morgan, is it World War? World War Three. One, two, three. Let's go.
Tweet last week, this fulfills a dream of 40 years. This is a joint Israel-U.S. madness creating havoc for the world.
With all due respect to this so-called professor,
No. They tried to have everything under control and they got dominated. Hardcore domination from the Iranians. God damn, man. You Americans, you got your shit pushed in and damn, it went wrong.
Iran is the aggressor. Iran is the one who is spreading this radical ideology.
I'm struggling right now over this definition of evil. What about the decades in which Palestinians lived under a brutal regime of structural apartheid?
It's simply revisionist history. Over the last 2.5 years, Israelis have been living in
This is gonna be interesting.
shelters, attacked over our peaceful border, and it all leads back to Iran.
This has nothing to do with America. This is Israel's problem. Yeah, you wipe that smile off your face real quick there, Mr. Israeli spokesman.
Ooh, it's gonna be exciting. Let's go, man.
New Ayatollah shares not only a name and a bloodline with his assassinated father, but also many of his hardline views. America and Israel are sworn enemies. Dissent and protest must be crushed. Weakness and chaos in the region makes its neighbours easier to control. It's therefore no surprise, under current circumstances, that Israel says it will kill the new Ayatollah and the one after that. None of this brings us anywhere closer to any of us.
Shit, man. Damn. These Israeli guys, they're living in a illusion, in a different world. Yo, America is bending the knee, man. They ain't even gonna deal with your problems anymore. They're cutting you guys off, bro. Stop fucking with people.
Any justifications for going to war. In fact, it's the opposite. And many people are still struggling to answer the two prerequisite questions. Why is the US at war? And why does it have to be now? Well, last week, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, and many others said it had to be now because Israel was going to do it anyway. The so-called imminent threat was actually the threat of a retaliation to Israeli aggression. Unsurprisingly, they hurriedly walked that back. But this narrative that the Israeli tail wagged the American dog is not going away. The Wall Street Journal reports that Senator Lindsey Graham flew several times to Israel in order to coach Netanyahu on how to persuade President Trump to join the war. And Antony Blinken, the former Secretary of State, said they've seen this playbook before.
This has been a long story when it comes to Iran. And back during the Obama administration, the Israelis were pushing President Obama to take military action against Iran and were warning that they would do it themselves if he didn't. And he wouldn't, because he thought the better way to get at the nuclear program, which is what we were focused on, was through very muscular diplomacy backed up by very, very strong sanctions that we rallied the world to put in place. And then we got the Iran nuclear agreement. Okay.
An esteemed panel is standing by, and in a moment we'll hear from UN Ambassador Danny Danon, one of Israel's most senior diplomats who lives and works in New York. We'll begin with Professor Jeffrey Sachs, a senior advisor to United Nations, who joins me now. Professor Sachs, always great to have you on Uncensored, but particularly after the last week or so. Just first of all, your overview about this war, which nobody wants to call a war, and where we are 9-10 days into it.
It's a war, and thousands are being killed. Israel and the United States are carpet bombing Tehran, and there's lots of death, schoolgirls being killed, a bloodbath underway. At the same time, the world economy is about to go into one of the biggest crises in the modern period, driven by the complete collapse of oil supplies coming from this region, a predictable consequence of the Israeli-U.S. aggression. So this is a calamity. This was a war of choice. Benjamin Netanyahu told us in a tweet last week, this fulfills a dream of 40 years. This is a war not caused only by Israel. This is a joint Israel-U.S. madness. The U.S. wants to rule the world, and Israel wants to rule its region, the Middle East, and they partner together. So it's not really right to say that Israel determined this or the U.S. determined this. This is a partnership. It was interesting that you had Tony Blinken on just a moment ago. He partnered in the genocide in Gaza. It was the same with his administration. A U.S.-Israel partnership that goes back decades. It has created a disaster around the Middle East, absolute disaster from Libya to Iran, with many countries desolate and destroyed in between. And it now will create a disaster for the whole world. I know you're going to have Ambassador Danny Danon on after me. He represents, in my view, a government that is doing more damage to the world and to humanity than any other government. He doesn't like my saying that, but that is actually the point, together with his partner, the United States. Both of them are rogue nations led by megalomaniacs, creating havoc for the world completely unnecessarily.
Well, you actually confronted.
Bruv, I couldn't even say anything, bruv. This guy is on the point. He's saying it the more sophisticated and more chill, but yeah, basically, it's the truth. So what can you say, man? He's on point.
Danny Danon at the UN. Let's take a look.
Not my role. Every time. And I'm doing Esther and Auschwitz. Those are your two ideas. Very clever. Suicide. No, it's suicide. You are destroying Hamas and Primara. You can fly there if you want.
Yes.
Well, it was an extraordinary encounter. What were you actually saying to him?
I was saying that Israel is committing suicide because it is destroying any remnant of sympathy or empathy in the United States and all over the world. So I said that suicide was tragic. We have polls, Piers, that show that for decades, U.S. sympathy ran 60 to 70% for Israel, 15% for Palestine. Now they run 41% for Palestine, 36%.
Okay, I don't like this guy, this fucking nerd, fucking motherfucker. I fuck your face, you fucking dumb fucking son of a bitch. I hope you fucking... So basically, what this guy just said is he's feeling very sad. And he's actually mad because public, what's it called, mindset is shifting from the Zionist occupational genocidal state to the freedom for the oppressed Palestinians. So this guy is saying he's sad over that. This fucking Harry Potter looking nerdy Bruv. I don't like this guy.
For Israel, in other words, the American public is on the side of Palestine, and that's going to grow dramatically. What's going to happen, whether Mr. Danon or his colleagues like it or not, the world is going into a profound economic crisis in the coming weeks and months, and this is Israel's choice. Israel set this off together with the United States. The world will pay a fearsome price for this delusion, and people will know where this came from. It's very, very sad. Very sad. It's suicidal for Israel.
Age hits you like a brick, and earlier than you think. It turns out that most men begin losing testosterone around the age of 30.
I don't care, man.
Receding very quickly, which is unsurprising given the overwhelming superiority, of course, of the American military coupled with the Israeli military. But is there a moment in here where if all their military firepower is pretty well taken out, that the regime begins to collapse from within?
Look, I'm not able to answer any definitive military judgment, but the people who are opining on this around the world believe that that is not the case, that Iran has held together, will continue to hold together, has vast arsenals of missiles and drones, and we'll see, because this war is not ending in the next few days. And Israeli generals themselves have said publicly this could go on into the fall, and the American public is being prepared for a long war. So even the progenitors of this war are not claiming that this is about to be won. I don't hear that from anybody. I don't see it in the markets either, in the soaring oil prices. I don't see it in the behavior of the energy producers, suppliers, and shippers. I don't see it in the shutdown of production in Qatar on its gas, in Iraq on its oil, and the destruction of oil fields. I see a calamity building and a lot of blood flowing.
And that's great. About all the prices going up and all of this. Let everybody feel it. Honestly, full support for that. That's even fuck oil prices and all of that, bro. People's fucking children are getting killed, bro. Fuck your oil, man. Fucking close the fucking that fucking sea path or where what wherever they close the fucking oil. That's fucking great. That's fucking great. Don't let those oil tankers pass for no fucking reason.
It's a kind of mass murder of civilians by Israel and the United States. This is shocking, actually. We should keep it in mind.
How the fuck is it shocking, man? America and Israel have been doing this fucking all over the world the last fucking 100 years, man. How the fuck is it shocking, bruv?
This is not targeted bombing. This is carpet bombing Tehran. And I've been speaking on the phone with absolutely desperate people in Tehran in the last 48 hours, and it's carpet bombing. And they're killing indiscriminately. So this is a disaster that is not likely to go away. No one's claiming in Israel.
So what's new? What's new? When did America not do that?
Israel or the U.S. that it's likely to go away. And the consequences for the world will be utterly awful. And Piers, we have...
The consequences will be like this. Nobody will give a fuck for America for anything. Israel will be excommunicated from the rest of the world. America is gonna go down a bad spiral where everybody is gonna not wanna be fucking making money with America. So it's gonna go down, 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 baby. So yeah, that's what's gonna be happening. That's what's gonna be happening. Bro.
A lot of Americans, we have a very particular society. We have a lot of Americans who are saying, move on. This is Armageddon coming. This is the promised end of the world. We are hearing lots of reports about this being preached in the military. We're seeing a lot of people who believe that the worse it gets, the closer we are to the second coming of Jesus Christ. And that's a motivating factor in the United States, I have to tell you.
Listen, that's the fucking problem with you guys in the fucking States, man. All of you are in cults, bruv. All of you are fucking brainwashed. Honestly, it's a fucking shit show over there, man. Honestly, all those guys abroad, we fucking laugh at you guys, how retarded you are. Honestly. It's just fucking hilarious how fucking dumb you are. There is no Armageddon. Let me tell you guys what's gonna happen. The world is gonna get sick, fed up with your bullshit, and they're gonna kick your asses back to America and give you fucking house arrest. That's what's gonna happen. There's not gonna come any Armageddon. There's not gonna come any Jesus. There's not gonna come any nuclear war, third world war. Nobody fucking cares about that, bruv. Nobody cares. Nobody's fucking dying for Israel, America, American interest, the elite's interest. Bruv, we're gonna tax the elite. We're gonna take their money, bruv. That's what they're crying and trying to make all this shit, bruv. We're gonna take your money, man. And you're gonna pay taxes, and you're gonna be an ordinary guy, bro. You're gonna give all your money to the poor people. So yeah, bro.
It's a significant part of Mr. Trump's base. And so bad news is not necessarily deterrence. It may just mean escalation to Armageddon. It is a grim situation that we're in. We've not seen anything like it, actually, since World War II. This is...
That's a lie. Christians do crusades all the time and all this Armageddon. This is some fucking regular shit always coming from you Christians, bro. So yeah, nothing new.
Even beyond the Iraq War, they then had, I won't say the dignity, but they then had the impulse to hide the motivations. Here, there is no impulse to hide the motivations. It's just complete kill anybody and kill everybody and overturn this society of 100 million people and an ancient society of 5,000 years. So it's dreadful.
Professor Jeffrey Sachs, I've interviewed you many times. I don't think I've ever heard you speaking with such raw emotion, but I appreciate you coming back.
We're heading to World War III, and we're being led.
No, we're not heading to World War III. America is just gonna get its ass kicked, and the whole world is gonna turn their back on America and Israel, and that's just how it's supposed to be. Bruv. You're fucking annoying guys, bruv.
By extraordinarily violent governments in Israel and the United States. And you'll hear a great defense in a moment by a skilled Israeli diplomat. But what they are doing to the world is absolutely unforgivable, and it will be recognized as such. And it's a tragedy. That's why I didn't use the word homicide when I talked to Mr. Danon. I used the word suicide, because what Israel is...
It's not a tragedy. Let the world fucking feel it. Listen, when it was Corona, when everything was locked down, oil prices, they went up too. And when the war in Ukraine and Russia happened and all of this, the oil prices skyrocketed too. But then the media covered it, everybody covered it, blaming politicians and all of this. Why is nobody blaming politicians and all of this and that? Now, it's more than before. In the Corona and the start of the Ukraine war and all of this. So, why is nobody blaming fucking America and Israel in the West? So yeah, guys.
Doing is committing suicide.
Jeffrey Sachs, thank you very much indeed. I appreciate you coming on Uncensored again.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Well, joining me now is Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon. Danny, welcome back to Uncensored. You heard Jeffrey Sachs there. Obviously, you heard him in person in the UN when he confronted you. Very emotional, very angry, talks about what you have embarked on here with this war in Iran as a suicide mission that will trigger World War III. What is your response to him?
You know, there's so many lies, so many hate. You know, he's driven by an agenda, you know, to go against Israel no matter what. You know, we saw it during the war we had with Hamas and now with Iran, but no connection to reality. You know, he's a professor. He's teaching economics. So I hope he knows economics better than he knows geopolitics, because let's go for the basic facts. Why we are now in a war with Iran? Why we have this operation? Not because it's like a conflict between the American people or the Iranian people. Not because we have a dispute over borders or over resources. Basically, the cause of the conflict is a radical regime. They decided they don't like the US and they don't like Israel without us saying anything or doing anything. And they took it to the next step, building the capabilities to actually destroy us. And we decided enough is enough. We're not going to wait for them to achieve the ability to destroy us. So with all due respect to this so-called professor, you know, we have facts. And the facts are that Iran is the aggressor. Iran is the one who is spreading this radical ideology. You know, when you speak with Israelis, we love the Iranian people. We have good memories from the days we actually used to go and visit Tehran before the revolution. You know, we admire the wisdom of the Iranian people. But once the revolution happened, and all of a sudden Iran became a rogue state, and they promote the radical ideas of the Ayatollahs, that's why we are where we are.
Okay, I mean, you say you love the Iranian people. The cold, hard reality on the ground is that more Iranian civilians have now been killed in the last 8-9 days of this war than Hamas killed on October the 7th, according to the official figures. That doesn't sit very easily with your love of Iranian civilians.
I beg to differ with you. I think the Iranian people, they cannot say it out loud, but when they look up in the sky and they see the Israeli aircraft and the US Air Force, they are grateful. They have been waiting for those moments for 47 years. They were oppressed, and today we come to unchain them, to give them the tools to rise up. Yes.
Honestly, you can see even this guy, I don't know who the fuck he is, but even this guy is fucking almost cracking up, bro. He knows fucking bullshit, bro. But sure, bro. But yeah, let's just say that.
It's going to be painful. Also, it's painful for us in Israel. It's painful for the Gulf countries. Iran, they are attacking more Arab countries in 10 days than Israel did in 77 years. So it's not easy for anyone today around the world, but that's a price we have to pay in order to make this place a better, safer place.
Honestly, Piers, why the fuck are you guys... Why are you letting them be so boring? This guy's fucking boring as fuck, bruv.
It's been reported that up to 170 schoolgirls were killed in an airstrike on a school that was next to an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps base. We still don't appear to know for certain who caused that strike. Can you give any clarity on that? It's been a week now.
Piers calls himself a journalist. Yeah, we know who did it. America did it. 2 Tomahawk missiles were fired. They double-tapped the school. So yeah, Piers, everybody knows it. Stop fucking lying. Either you're lying or you're just not doing your job. But why would I expect you to do your job? You're not a journalist. You're a fucking talk show puppet.
So we are looking into that incident. I don't think it was our involvement. We regret the loss of life of any civilian. It doesn't matter who is behind it, whether it was the IRGC or someone else, but we regret the loss of life of civilians. And we target military infrastructure. When I say we, it's Israel and the US. Iran, they're doing exactly the opposite. And I saw the interviews of Iranian officials, and they are saying, we are not targeting civilians, only military targets.
What the fuck is this weird-ass fucking picture behind him? This is fucking weird as fuck. Fucking take that shit and smash it and throw it out and make some fucking normal fucking... Fuck, bruv. This is some sick shit, bruv.
In the Gulf. They are lying. Look at the airports in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi. Look what's happening in Tel Aviv for the last 10 days. They are targeting only civilian targets. So there's a huge difference about the intentions. But
I just got one thing to say. Where is Netanyahu's brother? Chihi.
We regret the loss of life. I just finished now an event at the UN where I hosted brave women from Iran who came to share with my colleagues about their experiences with this regime. One of them, a very brave young woman, lost her eye in a demonstration. The other was not allowed to come back into Iran. So we know that the people of Iran, they pay a heavy price, and I believe that soon they will be able to take the future in their own hands.
You must know...
Bullshit.
Ambassador.
Those girls were free to leave and live in the West, so what's the problem? The majority in Iran don't want their kind of life. They don't want feminism. They don't want all this bullshit. So why should they accept it? Of course. And now they're not allowed to go back. And that's understandable. So why the fuck are they crying? They want to live like the Western people. Let them live in the West. What's the problem? After she get past enough around, when she get 40, 50, she can buy a cat. What's the problem? Because that's your kind of life.
Now, whether it was an Israeli plane that fired the missile into that girls' school, albeit it may have done so unintentionally, it may have been aiming for the base. I don't want to prejudge what may have happened there, but you must know as a country whether it was one of your planes that did that or not. So can you rule out that it was an Israeli plane?
No, first I have to tell you that from my experience in Gaza, and I think we spoke about it in the past, there were incidents that Hamas or the Islamic Jihad launched rockets into Israel, and they fell in Gaza. And there was a very tragic incident in a hospital. It took a few hours for everybody to realize it wasn't us. It was actually a rocket that flew from Gaza and fell in Gaza. So we don't know the details. From the information I have, I don't think that our Air Force was involved in that incident. I know it's being investigated both by the IDF and also by the US Air Force.
People are looking at what's happening in this war, and they're seeing a regime which remains intact. They're seeing the Ayatollah that was killed replaced by his younger son, also a Khomeini. They're seeing the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps still exercising ruthless control over the people. There's no sign of any uprising by the Iranian people, perhaps because they're fearful of the bombs, perhaps because they're fearful of the IRGC, but they're certainly not rising up in the way that Donald Trump was talking about his hopes would be happening. And we're seeing massive global economic mayhem driven by the virtual closure of the Strait of Hormuz and by the attacks by Iran on all the neighboring Gulf states, which are severely damaging the economies of all those countries. And that has a knock-on effect, obviously, for the global economy. And the longer this goes on, the worse the global economy will suffer, the more lives are going to get lost on all sides. And if ultimately the regime remains intact, how will you claim victory? What is victory?
So first, allow me to look at the upside also. Today we are degrading the capabilities of Iran. They don't have the same capabilities that they had 10 days ago, and we haven't finished yet. We will continue to hammer the infrastructure of this terror machine. And when I speak about capabilities, you focus on the ballistic missiles, on the nuclear capabilities, and their proxies. So I think, we can agree that it will not...
Bro, why did you even fucking call this guy on, man? He's so fucking boring, bro. Why the fuck do these guys even give this guy fucking speaking time? Bruv, he's boring as fuck, man.
Be the same. It will be a weakened regime. The question is whether there will be a regime change. I hope so. I pray for...
Bruv, you've been broken, bruv. Iran fucked you up, bruv. Tel Aviv is done, bruv. And those guys gonna keep on going, bruv. They don't wanna fucking speak with you. They don't wanna speak about peace or anything, bruv. They're fucking pounding your asses.
That. But it is up to for the Iranian people to decide when they do it, when they rise up. If they are watching us now, I'm telling them, Mardumei Iran, the people of Iran, be brave, be strong. Your time is coming very soon to go back to the streets and to lead this nation after 47 years of oppression. I think it will.
Yeah, after he's done bombing your asses and the few of you who are left, sure, bro, sure. Bruv, don't fucking rise up against your own country, bruv. Don't be fucking traitors, bruv. It's your fucking country. If you want change, change it from inside. But you can't demand that everybody should live like you just because you're some small Western thinking group who thinks Western values are so wow. So yeah, if you don't like it, you can move. Why the fuck are you staying in Iran if you don't like Iran? So move out. And this guy, this fucking ugly motherfucker, man. You're fucking ugly motherfucker. Also this guy Piers. But yeah, let's see. Honestly, I'm so fucking bored, man. Move on to the fucking next guy, man. This guy, bruv, he speaks, but I'm not listening because he's so fucking retarded, bruv.
Come, in the first few days, we focused on targeting the launchers to minimize the casualties in the area and in Israel. But I think in the next few days, we will continue to target the IRGC and the regime's assets, and hopefully it will encourage the people to move to the next stage.
Danny Danon, Israel's ambassador to the UN. I appreciate you coming back on Uncensored. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm going to be joined now by my panel. Doron Spielman, he's the former IDF's international spokesman and author of When Stones Speak. Daniel Levy, the former Israeli negotiator and president of the US Middle East Peace Project. And Scott Horton, author of Provoked. Welcome to all of you. Scott Horton, let me start with you. Clearly very different views of what is happening here from Jeffrey Sachs and Danny Danon. They had a very heated exchange in the UN, which says it all. I imagine that your agreement probably lies a lot more with Jeffrey Sachs than Danny Danon. But again, I'll put the same question to you about the possibility that this could eventually work, in the sense that Israel believes, with good reason, that Iran has been the tentacle, the octopus with tentacles, for all the terrorism in the...
Fuck what Israel thinks, fuck what Israel means. Nobody cares about Israel and what those guys feel, think, whatever. Honestly, bro, nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares what America feels, thinks. Honestly, you two can go and fuck each other.
The region that's been aimed at them through the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and so on, that it's run by an evil, repressive regime, which has been that way for 47 years, repressing its own people, repressing everything else in the region that can repress, and that they've had this coming. And that by decapitating the regime, you may then lead to an uprising from the Iranian people, many of whom hate the regime, and that in 5-10 years, we may look back in history, this is what I hear from many Israelis, and be grateful for what has happened. What would you say to that?
Well,
I mean, it's built into the question, of course, that this is all Israel's interests at play here. The great revolutionary Shiite menace is their problem, not ours. Our problem is the bin Ladenites, Al Qaeda and ISIS, the radical Salafi edge of Wahhabi Sunni Islam and their terrorist movement, mostly America and Britain and Saudi Arabia's pet terrorists, although they oftentimes turn on us and kill us too. But the Shiites are the Israelis' problem. And even though every time America runs an errand over there to try to spite them, we end up empowering them like we did in Iraq War II. And then inadvertently, when Obama built the caliphate to spite them, that blew up too big. So they had to take the Iranian side again in Iraq War III, which is, that we have strikes going on against Shiite targets in Iraq right now, because that's the regime that we put in power. You quoted David Petraeus a minute ago about tell us how this ends. Well, Iraq War II ended with David Petraeus putting Iran's best friends in power there and training up their army, the Badr Brigade, to be the Iraqi army. And that's who we got a problem with as the war spreads right now. But then secondly, as far as will the war work? No. And as far as, well, it depends on who you ask what their goals are. The Trump administration says they want stability. And they even told the Wall Street Journal, anonymous officials told the Wall Street Journal, they might be happy with Ayatollah Khomeini's grandson. They don't like Khamenei's son. They want Khomeini's grandson instead. They have no capability, as Marco Rubio testified to the Senate. They have no one to put in power. They don't think for a minute they could parachute the monarchists in there. They don't think for a minute that the Mujahideen e-cult communist terrorist cult can take over. They don't think that the Kurdish communists, the PJAK, which are the Iranian Kurdish branch of the PKK in Turkey, they don't think that they can take over. They don't think that the Baluchi suicide bombers, Jandala, that America and Israel backed 10, 15 years ago, can take over the...
No. It's not about they don't think they can take over. All those groups got called, and Trump was like, hello. And they were like, oh, it's you again. Yes, the number one president in the world. And they were like, fuck, bro, we already heard it. Heard what? Heard about the Iran. And they were like, get the fuck out of here, man. We ain't touching that shit. We ain't stupid. So yeah, bro, America already tried to fucking call those guys and make them do shit, but those guys, they were like, hell no, we ain't fucking doing shit for you. Not that shit. That is a suicide mission. So yeah, stop the bullshit.
Country. But as the Israelis told the Financial Times, that's fine. What they want to see is civil war. What they want to see is chaos and destruction and Iran taken off the board. They don't want to see a friendly new Iran, as Donald Trump said. They want chaos. They want Iran to look like Obama helped Israel turn Syria into back 15 and 10 years ago.
All right, Doran Spellman, there are many people who think that is exactly what Israel wants. They just want total chaos, a sort of rudderless Iran. That's why they're blowing up all the oil refineries. That's why their general view seems to be to cause as much mayhem as possible. What do you say to that?
Pierce, it's simply revisionist history. Listening to Jeffrey Sachs and, Scott is just, it's ridiculous. It ignores the reality that over the last 2.5...
What the fuck? What reality? Listen, bro, this guy... You're fucking bald ass moron looking. Listen, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you fucking living in an illusion? Are you living in your own fantasy world, little buddy? Do you need help? God damn.
Years and before, Israelis have been living in shelters, running in and out of shelters, attacked over.
Listen. It's not your land, it's not your fucking land. You need to move back wherever you came from. You need to move back to Poland or wherever you came from, where your fucking parents came from, where your grandparents came from, because you are not native to Palestine. That's fact. Just look at your eyes, bro. Those are not fucking Middle Eastern eyes. Look at his eyes, man. Just look at these eyes. These eyes are made for totally different environments. So stop fucking lying.
Our peaceful border with Gaza received thousands of missiles from Hezbollah, thousands of missiles from the Houthis. We've been targeted in Israel and overseas, and it all leads back to Iran. It's as if Israel woke up one morning and said, we've got a great idea. Let's fly 2,000 kilometers and try to attack a country that has 95 million people, and we have 10 million people, that is 90 times bigger than Israel, put our soldiers at risk just out of the blue because Israel wants to take over the world. I mean, there's not a single shred of truth about the scenario. Let's wake up, everybody.
What the fuck are you lying for? You have taken over Europe. You have taken over America. You have taken over South America, North America, Asia. Majority of Asian countries you got. Majority of African countries you got. So why the fuck you lying, bro?
At what point does a country have the right to defend its civilians against an enemy country that not only has said it wants to destroy you, but has launched 500 ballistic missiles in June, another series of ballistic missiles, including one that flew over my house and killed a worker in the middle of Tel Aviv today who will not go home to his family? At what point do we have the most basic right to defend our country? Should we just sit here and wait for them to keep firing and lay down and roll over?
Honestly, it was very sad it missed you.
You know, there is such absolute hypocrisy. You know, I'm listening to Jeffrey Sachs, so you let him speak for half an hour, and it was, so emotional. Israel's committing suicide. Well, let me ask Jeffrey Sachs and you, how do you suppose that Israel should respond to the Iranian terror threats from 4 different countries that have been attacking Israel? Should we not fight back? Should we just lay down? Is that not suicide? At the end of the day, Piers, we are leading.
Thank you for proving my point. That's exactly what I said. This is Israel's problem, not America's.
As opposed
Israel's
to
not an ally of the United States.
Scott, just one second. At the end of the day, this will go down in history the exact opposite of what Jeffrey Sachs said. You have Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump. Mark my words, they will go down in history like Churchill and Roosevelt, who were the first ones to confront the evil that spread throughout Germany and save the West. We are the very first ones, because there's an imminent threat against us, that are going to stop this threat before it hits Americans.
Not only Trump, not only Netanyahu, but America and Americans and Israelis will be remembered for being genocidal, bloodthirsty, apocalypse, fuck this shit, man. Doomsday fucking conspiracy nuts. That's what you're gonna be remembered for, and all your fucking people.
Soil. It already hit you. It already hit Israeli soil. They will go down in history, and everybody else that decries this war will be a minor footnote of those who said we should give in to the regime. We can't defeat the regime. If this was 1945, they would have just said, no, let's not finish off with Germany. Let's just let them reconstitute with Hitler's son, which is what Mujata is. He is Khomeini's son.
For heaven's sake.
Okay, let me bring in. Let me bring in.
Real quick,
hang on,
1 second.
Hang on, Scott.
Okay.
Well, very quickly, because Daniel's been waiting patiently.
Yeah,
very quickly.
just very quickly. I said, this has nothing to do with America. This is Israel's problem. And he said, this is Israel's problem for 5 minutes. Yeah, that's what I said. Israel's not a state in the Union. We have no treaty of alliance with Israel.
I'd like to respond. I think that the United States wants a secure Middle East. I don't think anybody wants a destabilized Middle East. When Israel, which is the United States' greatest ally, is under...
America honestly shouldn't even give a fuck about the Middle East, because as soon as you are removed, the Middle East is peaceful. So, as soon as this guy's country, blue-eyed guys, it's very funny, how the fuck is a blue-eyed white person even claiming land in the Middle East? It's so fucking incredibly fucking stupid. Fucking stupid.
Mortal threat. As we now see Saudi Arabia, Scott, who is the United States' supposed ally, is now also under threat. You've got the UAE, who is under threat. All of them are under threat by Iran.
Because you started a war.
The United States has the courage, and this president has the courage, Scott, beyond just protecting the U.S. troops, thousands of which have died over Iran over the last few decades, to say, you know what, I'm going to support the friends of the United States and to do the very simple act, which seems like none of you can accept, of defeating evil. Good standing up against evil. It can be defeated, and it must be defeated.
The point, okay.
You are definitely not the good, because you are genocidal. And how the fuck can a genocidal people be good? Let's be fucking honest, guys. We gotta fucking have some fucking reasonable standards, some fucking basic level of fucking human fucking religion and all of this. If you have a religion and you are people who do genocide, you should have no rights.
The point I would make to that, Doran, is that you're very optimistic that the regime is going to be defeated. And I think that the problem at the moment is there is no immediate sign of that happening. In fact, the opposite seems to be the case.
Let me bring in Daniel 9 days. This is not a fairy tale.
Okay.
We actually have to fight to defeat the enemy.
Yeah, but we were told a year ago, actually not even a year ago, that the attack on the nuclear installations was incredibly successful and had neutralized the threat of Iran and its nuclear capability. And yet here we are, less than a year later, launching a massive war in Iran because apparently they were, imminently about to acquire the ability for a nuclear weapon. And those two positions seem to be completely incompatible. It's like either it was neutralized last June.
Shall I force my way in?
Okay, but it's stretching. It is stretching.
Shall I force my way in, or
Yeah, Daniel, let me bring in Daniel. Daniel, you've been very patient. Thank you. Over to you.
First, I'm struggling right now over this definition of evil. I saw a country lay waste to Gaza. I've seen a country that occupied Palestinians. October 7th was a crime. But what about the decades in which Palestinians lived under a brutal occupation, a regime of structural apartheid? And then I look at what was done subsequently. And I'm shaking because when I hear these glib comparisons to the Holocaust and to the Nazi regime, I feel it's a form of cheapening, almost of Holocaust revisionism. I'm quite confident that the Jewish population in Germany was not keeping the Germans under a brutal occupation for decades. What a horrible analogy to draw, to call this some kind of Holocaust. Now,
exactly, the Holocaust is nothing. Many more people, many ethnic groups, many fucking nationalities went through more horrible things. Let's talk about the Bolshevik Revolution. Let's talk about the French Revolution. Let's talk about the Balkan Wars. Let's talk about Africa. Let's talk about, bruv, we can go all over the world, bruv. Holocaust. People don't even know if it's real anymore. Is it fiction? Is it real? People are leaning to fiction now because the truth is going to come out.
First of all, if one's talking about evil, what we have witnessed in Gaza should be painful and shameful to anyone who has grown up in a...
And what is the Holocaust? Is it the genocide? Is it the population sent to a work camp? Like the Americans did with the Japanese, like other nations did with other bruv. Let's get some fucking real facts and some real fucking proofs and some real let's have a real discussion about what really happened.
A tradition which respects and values Jewish life and which considers never again to not be a parochial call, but a universal global call. Now let's come on to the subject at hand, which is what is going on with Iran. Iran didn't attack Israel. Iran hasn't attacked Israel. I wish I could say that Israel hadn't attacked Iran, but as in your expressions of astonishment are wonderful, but they belie a revisionist view of history. The attack in June was initiated by Israel. The attack earlier this year, was initiated by Israel. And my question is twofold. First of all, is this extreme ambition, extremism, this maximalism, likely to play out well for Israel? And what do we think is going to happen as this plays out, as Mr. Horton just suggested, with the US? Because I would argue that you have an Iran that has a strategy, and you have an Israel that has a strategy. It seems very clear, very transparent, that the Israeli strategy is not some fairy tale of a happy new regime coming into place. It is precisely regime collapse, state implosion, dismantlement, and chaos. Why? Because Israel has been very clear that it has an agenda of regional domination here. Why does it need an agenda of regional domination? Because that's not about security. We can come back and talk about that. But that is central to the notion of a zero-sum endgame versus the Palestinians. I think the Iranians have come into this with strategic coherence. This time around, they've changed their national security posture and said, if this is going to be done against us, if this kind of a war is going to be launched against us, we will make it costly. We will establish a deterrence, and we will challenge the notion that America can stay cost-free in the West Asia region. The worry I have, amongst others, is that the party Israel is relying on, I don't think, has a strategy whatsoever. America used to go to wars that were often problematic for the world, for those who suffered, for America itself, with some degree of competence and coherence, some degree of a multi-layered interagency process. Today, I think you have rank incompetence and incoherence. And on any given day, the question is, what is this about? You can make a geopolitical case. You could say this is
Daniel,
about
let me ask
oil.
you this.
If I can finish just this one thought, Piers, I'd be appreciative.
Yeah.
You could say
Sure.
this is about a chokehold, like they see Greenland in geopolitical, geoeconomic terms, about oil. But you can also hear them talking about capitulation. You can hear them suggesting this could be a Venezuela 2.0. You can perhaps hear people saying...
Who's the they? I'm sorry, who's the they, Daniel?
The spokespeople of the administration that is carrying out
which administration?
War, Mr. Spielman. So I would suggest that this could end in a couple of days, or it could go on indefinitely. But what you have here is Iran has not tried to say we will escalate toe-to-toe with Israel and the US. They have said we will go vertical. We will expand the theater of war and make this a question, not of military capacity, where the balance of power is clear, but of political endurance. And if you go into war, not like Afghanistan, if you're America, with 90% public support, not like Iraq, with 70% public support, but with barely 30% public support, bipartisan, criticism inside MAGA, your economy taking the stress, then the question of political endurance, which I think will decide this, I don't think looks good from an American, and by extension...
let me jump in. Okay, let me jump in. I mean, I would say the political stroke economic part of this cannot be understated because the economy is getting shredded globally. Oil and gas prices are absolutely rocketing. No one can get through the Strait of Hormuz pretty much without Iran say so. So this is a very perilous moment for the global economy, I would say, notwithstanding the military part of this, where the strategy of Iran has been just to scattergun attack its neighbouring Gulf states because they know that by effectively doing that, and the way that they've been doing by targeting hotels and airports and so on, they are acting as a massive deterrent to people who are not naturally born in those states to want to go back to wherever they came from. You've seen lots of Brits go back to Britain, for example, because they suddenly think that this safe oasis is not as safe as they thought. But let me just ask you one question, Daniel, before I go to the others for their response to what you said. And it's this: when you said that Iran has not attacked Israel, and the two examples you cite were indeed retaliatory, but surely that ignores the reality, which is for decades, the Iranian regime, which has publicly talked about being wedded to the annihilation of Israel, and hear the chance of death to America at the same time, and has killed lots of Americans and Israelis. But the part you're missing, which I'm really curious about your response to, is that surely you would accept that by propping up and supporting with arms and lots of cash, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, they have been attacking Israel.
Oh my God, bro. You can say Mossad started everything, bro. Mossad started everything with CIA. Okay, finish. Honestly, I don't even want to hear anymore because Piers Morgan is a fucking retard and I can't handle this shit, man. He's going on such a fucking retarded fucking rant. I can't handle that. Honestly, bro, he's fucking annoying me too much, bro. Honestly, it's so fucking boring, this shit. I can handle it. See you guys next time. But this shit, I can see that shit, man. This is fucking too weird, bro. This is so fucking retarded, bro. Fuck you, Pierce. You just destroyed everything, man. Fuck you, bro.